Hey, we're here again with Michiana Outdoor News, and you know, one of the things that I was talking about with Louis Stout just a minute ago is how the fish transition to winter in our lakes. You know, I mean, where I live in Kalamazoo, there is a ton of small natural lakes around there, and you know, this time of the year for me, it's getting towards hunting season, things like that. You know, I want to fish and go catch them and catch them quick. So I like to fish a lot of the smaller natural lakes right now, especially the lakes that have good grass, you know, good grass lines, good weed lines in them. And those are the lakes that I'm really looking for these fall groups of largemouth. So, and this is something that you can do all the way up till ice out. What I really concentrate on is try to find a good defined edge of grass, and it can be, you know, it can be milfoil, it can be coontail, it can be cabbage, but I like, you know, lakes that have thicker grass in them, and I want to find a big flat. And so if you find a big flat that's got a lot of grass, the number one thing that bass relate to this time of year is they like those inside turns. And what I mean by an inside turn is you may have a big point of grass coming out. Well, that point sticks out way to the main lake. Well, where that corner, where that flat, the side of that flat comes in close to the bank, in that corner right there is usually where they're going to be grouped up. And now, the clarity of the water really determines what I like to use. You know, a jig is one of my favorite fall baits. Usually I try to have, you know, something pretty compact. I'll have the skirt trimmed down and a smaller trailer. And I like something that doesn't have a ton of action. You know, this is not the time of year where you put a rage craw in the back of your jig. You want just a plain standard, you know, junior size, like a Strike King KVD chunk on a 3/8 or a ½ ounce jig. You don't want too fast to fall. Tremendous way to find a good school of trophy largemouth. If the lake is real clear and the grass is a little more scattered, you know, my favorite bait's a tube. You know, and it's just because that tube has such an erratic fall to it, and you know, imitates a bluegill or crawfish really well. You know, those two baits are my go-to baits for these small lakes in the fall. And I'm going to do the same thing. Instead of fishing, you know, a 3/8 or 5/16 ounce head on that tube, you know, most of these grass lines are going to be 6 to 12, maybe 15 feet. I want something that has a slower fall. My favorite size is a 3/16 ounce tube, and I like to fish it with an exposed open hook. I want to cast it out there, let it swim and spiral down nice and slow, 8-pound test fluorocarbon spinning rod, let it get down in the grass and snap it out. When you're popping it out of the grass and that tube falls back down, that's when they get it, you know. So a jig and a tube, it's my go-to fall baits, and you'll catch them right up till the ice gets on the water with these baits in these smaller natural lakes. It's all about finding those inside turns on the weed lines, and you're going to find that school of largemouth. I've caught the biggest fish, you know, this time of the year doing it. And when you finally get into a group, a lot of times there'll be a bunch in a very small area. I've seen times where you can catch 25 or 30 off of a spot the size of your boat. So you may go, you know, you may go 3 or 4 spots, 3 or 4 little inside turns and not catch anything, and then hit the mother.